So we all know that plastic water bottles are a huge contributing factor to the plastic problem that we have around the world. But on this video, I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about just the mass amount of numbers that these bottles are creating. Also, the trap, the trap that we're stuck in always, especially for those in the Western world. And I guess probably equally for those in different countries as well, but in a different way. We're all stuck looking and searching for the cleanest possible water to live off of and to survive from. And there's a trap in place here. So I'm going to be breaking that down, as well as sharing the best solution so that you can go plastic free and you can stop this environmental impact as well as help your health. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Kara Michelle and I'm here to help you live your truth. Today we're on Plastic Free July day 7, I believe. I never know what day it is. I think it's day 7, and today we are popping in with my trusty whiteboard because I've been missing it and I wanted to use it today for this water video. So the first things first is that estimates are saying that we use 35 billion water bottles per year, which is absolutely crazy, right? That is a lot of water bottles. And the thing is, and it's funny because I shared about Plastic Free July on Facebook the other day, and this woman commented and she's like, just recycle. And I was like, fuck. Like, we've been recycling, it doesn't work, you know, like the recycling system doesn't work. I apologize for my language. Only 25% of plastic products are actually recycled. 25%. This is part of the problem, right? This is part of the mind-blowing statistic, is that as human beings, we are told something like, oh, throw it in the recycling bin and it's gonna magically be recycled. We're taught that, we're programmed to think that way and believe that way, but in reality, it's not actually the case. And so majority of our recycling has either been shipped off to China, back when we were allowed to do that, and they stopped doing that, to China and different countries in Asia. And speaking from Canadian perspective, I guess, I don't know what it's like in other parts of the world, but we think that because we put it in a recycling bin, it's like out of sight, out of mind, and it's like, oh, it must be recycled. It's being dealt with because that's what we've been told and what we've been taught. When in reality, only 25% is actually recycled and the rest of it ends up in the landfills. And when it's breaking down, landfills and waterways, which all water leads to the ocean, so eventually we end up with that great big garbage patch floating in the middle of the ocean, and it's just horrible what we've created without realizing it. And so this woman who said, like, just recycle, I was like, hey, it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, why? Also, yes, we can do our part, and if you use something and if it is recyclable, definitely put it in the recycling. That's great, right? But also, if we can do our part to stop it and cut back on certain things, or choose better, more sustainable options, or make our own, you know, we have the power to be a part of the difference before, instead of just saying, oh, well, I put it in the recycling, so I did my part. And it's like, no, because you're still contributing. So can you make a change beforehand and adjust a little bit so that maybe you're not putting as much in the recycling, or you're not using as much waste? And that's where the whole sustainability and zero waste movement is just so powerful, because people are starting to go, okay, yes, I could recycle this, or I could donate this item to a thrift shop, or I could do these things, but maybe instead of even doing that, I'm just a lot more conscious and aware of the things I am purchasing, or where I am investing my money, and choosing things that are more sustainable from the get-go, that last longer, they don't break down as easily, and are ultimately something that you have for a lifetime, versus all these disposable things that you're using and just throwing away and hoping and believing that they disappear. So the problem with plastic bottles, and that is the trap that we're stuck in, is that, like, especially Actually, I'm just gonna say all over the world, because if you're traveling, there's a lot of countries that don't have clean drinking water, and so you have to buy plastic bottles. I know when I was living in Sri Lanka and Bali, when I was traveling in Vietnam, Morocco, Guatemala, all of these different countries, like, I needed to purchase plastic bottled water, and I hated it. But it wasn't safe because of the germs, because of the lack of the proper filtration system where I was in those places. For some of these, I just boiled tap water because I had my little tea kettle so I could make my tea all the time. And I just boiled the water and I was totally fine and I never got sick. But like India as well, you're supposed to purchase the bottled water. And so that becomes a lot of plastic, and a lot of plastic that isn't necessarily recyclable all the time and ends up being non-disposable. So the part of the trap though too is, so for those of us in Canada or in America who are influenced, maybe we have decent drinkable water, but we're influenced by marketing. We're influenced by corporations that want to sell us things, so they're selling us bottled water. You can check out this video here all about the system and the corruption and the big cycle that's keeping us trapped, mind, body, and soul. So that is a thing here. We're influenced like, oh, it's this beautiful spring water and this and that. Well, that's just marketing. Most plastic water bottles, most of the water in those isn't actually that much better than normal tap water. But the problem is as well, is the chemicals inside the tap water and the contaminants, that's the word. So whether you're in first world, third world, first world countries, we've got so many chemicals in our waters, like the fluoride, all these different things that have been added in to filter out disease or germs and stuff like that, which is great. But now we're ingesting all these chemicals and we wonder why so many people are getting illnesses and sick and this and that, because the water they're drinking that they think is clean isn't actually clean. And then we also have, I remember when I was in America a few years ago for the winter, some of my friends down there were saying like, oh, a lot of places there's like traces of birth control in the water system, so you're getting like extra hormones, and there were so many different contaminants in the water system. They're like, oh, you don't drink the tap water here. And I was just like, what do you mean? Naive little Kara living in the clouds, like, what are you talking about? Like, why can't we drink the tap water? So there's the chemical risk, and then there's the contaminant risk of the germs. But then part of the trap is that they sell you on the plastic bottles, and I kind of drew a plastic bottle beforehand to try and prep myself. Look at how great that is. It's a beautiful bottle. So now it looks weird. I shouldn't have done that. We were tricked into purchasing plastic bottles to use that instead. But what we don't understand, and yet people are starting to understand and become aware of, is that with the plastic bottles, we then have to be concerned about microplastics. So the plastics, and this is the whole thing, the whole reoccurring theme of Plastic Free July, is taking a really solid glance and look at your choices and if they're good for the environment or if they're good for your health, because more often than not, those two go hand in hand. So plastic, it's not good for the earth. Well, it's also not good for our health, because we're just like a walking mini version of the earth. We're all 70 to 75% water, like the earth is. We're all made up of tiny cells and tiny organisms that work together to do their job, like the earth is when we actually work together. Shout out to teamwork. Let's get there. Let's make that switch now. But like, we're little mini versions of the earth. So if plastic is building up in the ecosystem and we're just a mini expression of the ecosystem, chances are plastic is building up in us too. And especially when it comes to microplastics, because these bottles don't break down and like plastic doesn't disappear. So it becomes smaller little pieces of plastic and little smaller pieces than that. And it ends up in so many different areas of our lives, in our foods, in things that we're ingesting, not to mention just drinking from plastic water bottles. There are microplastics in that bottle because we have no knowledge of how long the water's been sitting in those plastic bottles. So it could have been sitting there for years before it gets shipped off somewhere through the warehouse, before it ends up at like your store, right? And on top of that, the more that those bottles heat up and the sun is breaking down into those plastic bottles, it's breaking up and causing more of those microplastics. And then as it gets colder and is back in a fridge or something, you maybe don't notice that like it doesn't taste the best, or that there's some weirdness to it because you think it's like you just taste this kind of cold water. But in reality, there could be a lot of stuff going on in that plastic water bottle. So it breaks down, we're ingesting it. What did I say on one of the videos? I totally butchered the quote and then I Googled it after and I was like, oh. But like the average person eats like 1 credit card worth of plastic per week. So you're ingesting a credit card of plastic per week. How do you think that that would be helping your digestion or your overall energy or your mood or your hormones or all these things to have chemicals? Because plastic is just chemicals. So how does it affect you to have all these chemicals in you? And it doesn't help you in any way at all, right? So this is kind of the trap though, I guess is what I'm saying, is that what they're teaching you or what your options are, kind of like both are evil, like both aren't very good. One is asking you to pay a bunch of money for water bottles to then ingest plastic and then hurt the environment because it might not be recycled. The other is telling you to just drink from the tap water and ingest chemicals that they're using to filter things and potentially get contaminants that are going to make you sick. So the question here is like, what is the solution, right? The solution for you, the solution for the environment, the solution for your health. So I want to break down 2 on here. Obviously, number 1, hey, if you haven't yet, comment, I'm creating a healthy planet down below. Make sure you enter the giveaway. Tag me and Healthy Planet on Instagram to be entered in the giveaway. We're giving away 2 plastic-free starter kits at the end of the month. I'm really excited to share these with you. Thank you so much for being here. Anyway, side note, I appreciate you. And now, the 2 things. So we have like, you have your reusable bottle, right? Instead of purchasing a plastic bottle every single day or using multiple ones and not only funding corruption and funding an industry that's most likely just packaging normal water and telling you it's special water, you're funding them and their pockets, but you're not helping your health, you're not helping the environment, right? That's part of the trap. So getting a solid water bottle that you can bring anywhere. This is my favorite and it's from Minimal Bottle from Healthy Planet, as you can obviously tell. But it's like, it's really solid, but it's super light as well and a nice size. So this is my favorite bottle. Having a reusable bottle is obviously a great option because then you can bring that with you everywhere. I never leave the house without one of my water bottles, and like, I know people think I'm weird all the time, but firstly, I like to stay hydrated and secondly, I just don't want to purchase anything in plastic, so I'm constantly bringing my bottle with my water, and then when it's empty, I'll fill it up with some other water. But the second option and the solution is like a high-end filtration system for your water. And this is something I've been really diving into a lot more the last few months, although it was something I was interested in a few years back. And for me personally, I have a Kangen machine, and I'm gonna put a link down below. Oh, that's a horrible heart, but it's a beautiful product. It's a beautiful filter. I'm gonna stop because it's we all know my drawing is not my strong suit. So I personally got a Kangen machine recently, and this has been such a game changer because, as I mentioned, majority of our tap water has a lot of chemicals, a lot of contaminants in it. So even if we have the best intentions and we think we're saving the planet by drinking tap water, we might be helping cut back on plastic pollution, but we're not actually helping our health because we're ingesting a lot of chemicals. So what's so wonderful about Kangen, and it's by a company called Enagic, and their machines are actually so powerful that almost all, not all, but like majority of the hospitals in Japan actually have these water filtration systems in the hospital for their patients, because they know that if your body is 70% water, then in order to heal and in order to be in the best optimum state, why wouldn't you focus on that 70% and making it like perfect, right? If you've got an amazing 70% filled out and then the rest you focus on just like general stuff, like you're covering more than 50% of your body. Obviously you're covering 70%. So when you're taking care of like the biggest, most important part, that is not only like keeping you alive. We can go days without food, but we can't go very long without water. Our body, every single organ runs off water. And if we're not getting the best water, then we're not optimized and we're not running at our best capability. So in Japan, they've got all these hospitals that have these because they're actually medical grade machines to help filter your water. They've got electric plates. It's like literally like lightning in a box that helps to create this high ORP, which is the oxidation reduction potential, which basically means when you're looking at water, if like the normal water clusters are like that, like the water molecules are big, what this machine does is it filters out any of the chemicals. It's got charcoal, it's got charcoal filter in there as well. But then with the little plates and it's like lightning in a box, so it creates really small microclusters of the water molecules. So it's making it so much smaller that your body's actually able to absorb it more fully. And studies have shown that like dehydration is one of the biggest issues for people's health, and this lack of healthy water to run our system to allow our body to just do its work and heal itself. So if you have this really high quality water and these small molecules that are absorbable, and your cells are able to absorb them fully and be hydrated, be replenished, and work at their highest level, then you're literally filling your whole body with this really, really powerful ability to do its job and to just rise up, to heal illness, to be in the most healthy possible state you could be in. And it's all just from simply changing your water. So you change your water, you change your life. That is their slogan. But it's true. I've been drinking the water for a few months now, and I can honestly say, like, it's helped so much with my chronic pain. It's helped with my skin as well. It's helped me to feel better, more energized, more vibrant, like so many different things that I've noticed from it. So all of that is done by having like a proper filtration system that, sadly, this is something that every single house should have. Every single one of us, it should be mandatory, to be honest, because we shouldn't be forced to choose between one of these two things. We shouldn't be forced to pay money for plastic bottled water and fund someone else's pocket and hurt the environment. And we shouldn't be forced the other option to drink our tap water, but drink chemicals that the governments are knowingly, like, we know, all of the studies will tell us, you can Google it, all of the studies will tell you that there's a lot of chemicals and contaminants, and it's not healthy for you to be drinking and ingesting that much. But those are the two options that the governments, and I don't know if I want to blame the government on this one, but like society has put us into those two things, right? Where it's like option A or option B. Whereas what Enagic has done is give you the option C. And like I said, I just feel like it should be mandatory. We should all have that as a normal kitchen appliance, because it's going to help with that 70% of our body to heal, to be in our best state, to feel good, to feel hydrated, to actually have the best possible water in our bodies every day. But on top of that, to help the planet and to cut back on these 35 billion water bottles that are used a year. So I want to just end it there, I guess, of just like those are your best options in my personal opinion, because we know the microplastics are there. We know the microplastics are going to be in your plastic bottle. So you're ingesting that, whether you know it or not, whether you taste it or not, but it's there. And we know that the chemicals and contaminants are in the tap water. So whether you know it or not, whether you taste it or not, it's there. And the best possible option to get out of that, to help the environment and help your health, is to bring a reusable water bottle. And for me personally, my little bias is to have a Kangen machine, because this is why I fill up my water bottle and bring it everywhere. When my dad was in the hospital after his heart surgery a few weeks back, I would bring him bottles of water, because it's the best possible water you can feed your cells. So it's just like, we always have those options, and I'm so grateful that there are companies like Enagic who are trying to give us an option C, instead of saying, no, you just got to drink the chemicals or drink the plastic. That's it, right? There is a better way. So make sure you check out the link down below, beingkarmic.co, to check that out and learn more about Enagic and about these amazing, amazing water machines and how they can help you, how they can help the environment, and how you can also be a part of the movement that is spreading across the world and being a part of this change. So thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you hit the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications. Let me know your biggest aha moments from Plastic Free July so far, or from this video. And again, make sure you comment to enter the giveaway, and I will see you tomorrow for the next one. Bye guys.